Please share the stream. Let's have some great conversation. It is the birthday of the Director of Prisons, and we're talking about Patience Bafuboni. Good morning to you, wherever you find yourself today. That great birthday. All of us in solidarity are all taking part in this. And so, Director of Prisons, Patience Bafuboni, happy birthday to you as well. I know that you're also a lawyer by profession. Justice Yoni Kolende, Justice of the Supreme Court of Ghana. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you as well. And then also former presidential candidate of the NDC, also celebrating their birthday. Happy birthday to you, John Dramani Mahama, as well. Wish you all the best in your endeavors. For all those who are sending us messages on your birthdays, we'll duly acknowledge them. Today, we're going to have a certain perspective on why peace is important. We know that just about 12 hours ago, we had the leading presidential candidate, at least 12 of them, sign that peace pact. And of course, we have all of them leading a pact, including the vice president, the presidential candidate of the MPP, DMB It Is Possible 2024, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and then also Reset Agenda, John Dramani Mahama, former president, presidential candidate of the NDC, and then we had Alan Kojo Tremanting, his representative, Dr. Hassan Ayariga, Akpalu also in the number of them. What does peace mean? How do we ensure that there's peace this election? Looking back from Ayawaso West Wogon, the 2020 general election, we had 8 people dying, and then where we are currently, do we have trust for those institutions? How do we engender that trust 8 days to that major election? I have representing the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the DMB campaign, Alfred Kojo Thompson. He's here. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland. How are you doing?
I love well-cladded. Bawumia Napo 2024, perfect pair for Ghana.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And then also Wanda Madilo is also here. Wanda Madilo, thank you.
Thank you
For joining us.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah.
Good morning to you.
Very good morning.
Great. And then also a regular, I call him the Chief Justice on the Friday panel, the Ombudsman, and lawyer Kwame Jantwa, Wafa Jantwa, the son of F.A. Jantwa. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning.
Great. Thank you for
a member of a political party.
Which one?
CPP.
Oh, yes, CPP. CPP. He does, among other things.
Ran away from the presidential race of the CPP.
I never told you I was standing.
Bright Appiah. Bright Appiah is the Executive Director for Child Rights International. Good morning, and thank you for always staying tuned and watching us as well. But let's do the introduction. Let's also introduce to you, because alongside we'll be having also in coming through in the studio, Colonel Festus Abuaji, security analyst, also great consultant when it comes to the various regional and international bodies on peacekeeping, relative conflict resolution, etc. We'll also have him to have his bite. This is what transpired with the presidential candidates saying they want peace, the leading ones as well. We'll also bring you a recall of some of the disturbances from Ayawaso West Wogon, and then following that as well, the Techiman South insets of those shootings that led to the killing of voters, ordinary Ghanaians, in the 2020 general elections.
Coming from within the compound of the house. Our boys then gave some 6 warning shots.
There were many, my lord.
Many.
If I'm not mistaken, they were holding them. If I'm not mistaken, it will be over 20 per what I saw.
Okay. And were you able to find out the source of these empty shells? Who had, fired these gunshots? The empty shells that you saw, were you able to detect?
I inquired. But the information they gave me was that they were fired by the task force team that came there.
I saw them point directly into the crowd, in the direction of the crowd, and fire.
So they fired the warning shot. This made them to retreat and started to run helter-skelter.
For the angle, I don't know for warning shot, but mostly once it's targeted at this one.
To the building of a peaceful and prosperous country. However, it is all well and good for us to commit to peace and recite beautiful platitudes. All the efforts at building peace before, during, and after the 2024 elections would come to naught or be undermined if there is mistrust and insincerity on the part of those in authority.
Exuded confidence in Ghana's democratic process and peace.
And unite. I am certain of two outcomes. Ghana will win and peace will reign. My plea to everybody involved in the electioneering process is to take responsibility for ensuring peace and harmony seriously.
So going by this, how do we make sure that apart from the rhetoric and the commitment in words by the leading candidates and all the players, that this manifests? Well, Brian Tapia, Chief Executive for Child Rights International, well, you'll be celebrating your birthday tomorrow. Let me just wish you before the time. But Alfred Thompson, so the commitment to the peace, etc., the trust for the institution is very important. Our recent history haven't been that good. How do we make sure that we carry everybody along just in 8 days' time?
Peace is good. And I'll say good morning to Dr. Baumia and the team for the wonderful work they've done so far. It's been a serious, focused, and purposely driven journey so far since January to date. If you had asked me somewhere in January that how the election's going, I would have told you straight away that I wonder whether we could win. But if you ask me today that how is the elections going to go on Saturday, I can tell you confidently that most people will vote number 1 on the ballot paper, because we've been there, we've been to the grassroots, we've explained things to them, they've understood, they've seen that the lies, and sometimes some people will come to you and ask you that, so with all these things you've done, why have you been sitting aloof all this time? We believe that people will see from every hook and cranny they are in. But sometimes it's good to go and explain rather than wait for them to assume. Because you have a serious opposition that knows how to still work on propaganda. And they are focused on making sure that it's lies and things that will derail the success of this country that they're looking out for. And we're focused. And so I'll say to Dr. Baumia, to Hajia, Samira, to Napo and the wife, to President Kufuor, to Nana Akufo-Addo, solid man, good man, and I believe that when he leaves office, people would one day say that he did a lot for this country. As when Kufuor was leaving, remember they were calling him Atayi and all those names. But today they are calling Kufuor as one of the best presidents of this republic, the Fourth Republic. And I believe that Nanado, the praises of him will be sung high. And we believe the way forward is very clear. Peace is how you want it to be. When you call for peace, you have to act it and you have to behave that way. We see the humility in which Dr. Baumia moves around. I've never seen, not of even one occasion, can you play a video and tell me that you heard him insulting other candidates or said anything derailing other candidates in an insulting manner. He will tell you as it is, he will say it in a nice way. He's humble before everybody and will tell you that, listen, let us work together for the good. When even he was being insulted, during the primaries, after the primaries, I remember during the primaries when they would call him so many names and saying so many things about him, he called us together and told us that, you know what, let us keep focus. Let us forget about whatever they say. As a politician, people will say things about you. People will try and derail you. People will try and do things that will bring you down. But if you are focused and you know what you are about, you will always succeed. And you have to be bold in doing that. And so when he came out with the bold solutions, I wasn't shocked because you realize that he's focused in everything that he's doing. When he was being called stupid, when he was being called other things, he focused. And today, we are seeing the results that are coming in. And definitely on Saturday, we will see what it is. Because you don't come and say that, oh, I'm for peace. And then when you go back, you go and tell your people that go out and go and do whatever you want because we have won elections. Knowing very well that you didn't win elections. And then you go to the courts, go and try and do manipulations. It didn't work. Then later on you come out. Then when you are standing in church, you come and stand and say that, oh, God knows why you people didn't win the elections. You know very well. Where even at that time, your general secretary comes out to say that, oh, if we have the results, we would have brought it here. But they haven't even collated results. You see, it's not just about talk. It's about performing. It's about showing and walking the talk. Walking the talk is very important in politics. And you can see that with Dr. Bawumia. Wherever he goes, whatever he does, it is about being humble to tell people that, yes, this is the way we should go. He stated it all. How can you win an election when you have issues? We've told all the necessary bodies, do what you have to do to make this clean, fair, and precise. And then when we win on a clean slate. Because I don't want us to win. Then someone will come and stand and say that they stole the elections, they've done this, they've done that, that's why they've won the elections. I want them to come out and say that, yes, we lost the elections over 1 million as we did in 2016. I want them to come out and say it clearly because everything is there clearly to show. Everything is there. So we'll employ on the electoral commission. We'll employ on the peace council have done their bits. But when you are going to sign a peace accord and you have your chairman standing somewhere and saying that we won't sign today, we won't sign tomorrow, you have a problem. It means that some part of the party is ready to do whatever they want to do. And it takes leadership to speak to them and tell them that, listen, you don't go out and say such things because we are all on one accord. We are all focused to do one thing. If you go and stand somewhere.
You have 2 minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, no problem. If you go and stand somewhere and you start calling for mayhem, who is it going to affect? When people are coming and they are causing mayhem, do you think they'll come and ask that, oh, Roland, are you MPP or NDC? They wouldn't do that. When they are coming and they are attacking, they're attacking. And when someone goes haywire, he doesn't care where you are standing or who you are. We all have to work together to continue to maintain the peace and security of this country. Leonardo has stated clearly that this election is going to be won free, fair, and neat, because hard work pays. And we believe that the hard work that has been put in place will pay on the 7th of December. For the 8th of December, Ghanaians will declare Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia the next president of this republic. Thank you.
Wanda, we've come to the point where the vice president, who is chair of the police council, and then also subsequently, we have the president who also is commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Yeah. Subsequently, we have a number of actions. Even after Ayawaso West war gone, the 8 people dying in the last election, of course we showed Techiman South. We've had even recently demonstrators being ruffled because they have flouted regulations in such a way that it questions the commitment of the key institutions for which we have key players in government who are playing key roles in this election and the action thereof for those institutions like the police, etc., in taking them. Shouldn't we be worried or not about having trust for such people and those institutions? 8 days going into this election, Wanda.
Roland, I'm surprised. First of all, today is the birthday of my presidential candidate, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And I want to personally wish him the best of the day, the best of the moment, and the best in the next elections we're having on the 7th of December. I'm particularly excited to speak to this because it will mark the beginning of his victory. And we're very excited that this country will be reset back into where it belongs. Be that as it may, let me try to address this peace pact thing. Personally, if you ask me about this whole business about signing a peace pact, it puts us on the edge all the time. I mean, since 92, we've signed it in, I think the first signing was in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, 2012, 2016, 2020, and then 2024 now. What that does, even though it's symbolic, because it's not couched in law and there are no serious consequences as a result of the flouting of those peace pacts, it only makes us look as though we're still a baby democracy, and every time we have elections, then you have all these bodies coming around, we want peace, peace council all of a sudden finds their voice and everybody's preaching peace, as though we're going to war. And I think that doesn't make our democracy solid enough. It doesn't make us look like we're really ready to go by the rules of the game of what the tenets of democracy is supposed to be. And for me, I think that we need to get to a point where people are punished for crimes they commit, people are punished for their errors, people are punished for flouting the rules that they are punished. Unfortunately, over some period under this, inept government, we haven't seen a system that seeks to reward people who have flouted some of those, laid down principles, rules, and regulations that governs our elections. And we don't see the confidence. They preached to us and brought President Akufo-Addo to us as a human rights activist. But under his tenure, we have seen the worst form of governance. We have seen the worst form of human rights abuses. We have seen all kinds of, things that have happened that, blows the mind, in the face of law. And for us, that is where the concern is. If you have a recent elections like Teshiman South, 8 people died. Do you know today?
8 people died in the whole election.
Yes,
Teshiman
no, I mean, Teshiman South is the hot spot. That's where, apart from Bayawaso, which was prior to that election, Teshiman South was the heat of it. And 8 people died in the elections. Till today, I haven't heard the president himself shown any remorse whatsoever. But for those appearing before, vetting committee, in parliament and saying that we are sorry and all that, it should be investigated and all that, we haven't seen a concerted effort, especially from Mayawaso West Ogun, when you have people like Azugu and Co, who have virtually been promoted. Even when the committee's recommendation was that they should be sanctioned and all that, some of those people have found themselves into all kinds of promotions still again around elections. And I think that doesn't, spark confidence. It doesn't build any, confidence in anybody involved in these elections to do anything, untoward. Because people feel that you can do it and get away with it. We have even their party functionaries. We have people who are appointed by government saying that this election they will win it and they won't hand over and all that. The NDC won't win and all. They say all kinds of things in our face. Now, this is what they should understand.
Which is?
That as citizens of this country, none of us will go sitting down for the MPP to try some of those things they did in the past. It won't happen. That is not to say we want to sacrifice the peace of this country, but we are telling them in the face that this time round, if the MPP tries anything silly in these elections, it won't go.
But that's the purpose of the peace pact that you signed.
The purpose of the peace pact, hold on, the purpose of the peace pact is not to allow one group of individuals to perpetuate the kind of violence that happened in the last elections. We didn't sign a peace pact to become fools. We didn't sign a peace pact to look on so that they do what they want to do. We signed a peace pact to ensure that the sovereignty of this state is protected, that the elections will be guaranteed in a free, fair manner. Anything other than that, they will meet our meter. They will meet their meter. I tell you.
Lawyer Pierre Dankwa, thank you for passing through the studios as well. And good morning. Welcome. Great to have you. If you take a look at the recommendations of the Ayawaso West Wogon Commission, you will find that critical among them, they recommended the prosecution of Double. His real name is Enesa Komia for unauthorized possession of firearms under Section 1921 of the Criminal Offences Act. Subsequently, they also said there should be the prosecution of the gentleman who slapped the member of parliament who was there, Sam George. Nothing happened. And then they also said that there should be the reprimand of, at the time, Colonel Michael Poku for being ultimately responsible for the outcome of the SWAT operation. And subsequently, we've had even the NDC come to complain that he's even risen through the ranks, etc. If you take a look at the outcomes of those recommendations, the expectations of what actions should have been taken by whether it is the president, commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, chairman of the police council, the vice president, who is now the presidential candidate, driving us to today where we say everybody should be preaching peace. Are you worried that the utterances being made do not match up to the actions being taken?
So let me take this opportunity to wish yourself.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Wish my brothers. I'm always happy to see my big brother Thompson. In fact, I'm not talking about party. Beyond the party, he's my big brother Thompson, my big brother John Twy, yourself. And once you've mentioned, a long time, And once you've mentioned that today is His Excellency John Mahama's birthday, I think it's just right that I wish His Excellency John Mahama happy birthday and take the opportunity to also wish Christopher Poku-Kwarteng a happy birthday. Next time, my greetings to the next president of Ghana, Honorable Alan John Kojo Chemanton. It's a very good question you asked, and I have my own views about this peace pact, yes, it is symbolic, it's nice, it gives us, or it places us in some full paradise that, the elections will be peaceful. But you see, we should not allow the peace pact to mask our collective failure. And I'll make this partisan. To mask our collective failure as a people to build the right political culture, to build the right institutions that will sustain democracy. And I think collectively as a people, we have failed to build the right political culture. I think we can't have a debate that on the issue that the political culture in this country is very parochial in nature. You see, governments and in the way we have our political discourse, today is as if the NPP are the friends of the EC. In time past, before they came to power, it's as if the
vice versa.
The NDC, they were the friends of the EC. And for me, the kind of communication that tells me is that at every point in time, our political parties, our politicians, solely think about what is in their interest. Forget about what is
very parochial.
Extremely parochial. Because you see, if we forge the right political culture, a political culture that tolerates diverse views, but what is going to happen on Netflix is just all of us going to express our opinion as to who should be granted what power. Why should people die because of that? We should also build a political culture that holds political leadership at every level accountable. You understand? We should build the right political culture that will guarantee us the rule of law. And also, we should not be afraid to enforce the law. We should not be afraid to enforce the law. So when the law is flouted, based on the oath that people in political position, the presidents, the parliamentarians, the justices, based on the oath they all took to protect, defend, and preserve the constitution of this country. Now, the people you mentioned their names, Double, and all those people, why haven't they been prosecuted? At least been prosecuted. So, for me, yes, we've signed a peace pact. It is symbolic, but I think the focus of Ghanaians should be to collectively, obviously led by the state, to build the right political culture, which will ensure that it comes 2028, we do not need to put together and sign this fake paper. You understand? Which didn't prevent 8 of our compatriots losing their lives in 2020. It did not, but a peace pact was signed. You understand? We should also deliberately, led by the state again, whoever becomes president, and I know Alan Chemanton will do that when he becomes president, understand? Make true, proper democracy. Because democracy isn't just power of the people. Democracy shouldn't be limited to us queuing every 4 years to go and cast our vote. But proper democracy is also government by the people and for the people. You understand? And we can only achieve that if we manage to have a properly decentralized system where we include all Ghanaians in political decision making. You understand? And now when we do that, beyond we or us guaranteeing for ourselves the rule of law, we also create a system where we have the best opportunity of fulfilling one of the essential promises of democracy, which is economic freedom. You understand? Because every 4 years we go and we vote, and it's like there's a lot riding on the elections. Because I can tell you confidently, after this election, some people will become very poor.
I don't understand.
After these elections, some people will become very, very poor.
How so? Explain.
Listen, sometimes, so the politicians, because sometimes we say winner take all and all.
Okay,
but I can tell you that after 2024, some people and their family members and their friends are going to be extremely poor. And that will happen because we run a procurement democracy. You understand? What prevents us from creating the right economic structures? The right economic structures where the principle of meritocracy, where my creativity can earn me honest revenue. But this system we've created, this procurement economy, which is turning a democracy into a kakistocracy. Understand? Where I have to be licking the boots of my brother Thompson because I want him, because he's in power.
So you left the party because you were not licking the boots of the hand?
No, I'm not saying that.
So what are you saying? Hold on to me. Just hold your breath. I think I won't take this. Let's get onto the lines and speak to a distinguished man who has contributed to peace, conflict resolution, not only in the sub-region across Africa, but also the globe. And one of the many consultants for the various regional bodies, including the UN, etc. He's a regular contributor. And Colonel Festus Abuaji, good morning to you. You take a look at what we do by symbolism, signing the peace pact, making those gestures, where at the same time you look at utterances, actions of people, whether in government or in opposition or in key positions of various organs of security of state. And the peace is not adhered to during elections. Does that give you confidence that the next election in 8 days, we're going to have that peace that is symbolized in those peace pacts?
Thanks, Roland, for having me on your show. And my regards to this solid team of panelists that you have. I followed the discussion up to this point. My apologies that because I have to leave for somewhere, you have to truncate the contributions by my good friend from the Akufanto group. Now, let me suggest that there are two dimensions of symbolism. So when the Peace Pact started in 1996, being the first time we're going to go for, or was it the second time we're going to go for elections or whatever, the fear of the revolutionary era was still there, especially when the late former president was still alive. So there was good reason for us to find a certain mechanism to assure Ghanaians and the world at large that we mean peace. So let's bring our political stakeholders around one table and let them commit themselves to peace. That symbolism was positive. Now, 7 elections or 8 elections after that, the annual ritual of a peace pact in the face of gross violations of human rights, not even violations of electoral laws, but gross violations of human rights. We ignore all of that. Then we sit around the table like we did yesterday. And then we say, let the leaders commit themselves to peace, to accept the results of an election without any proviso. That the elections will be free, fair, transparent, and credible. Now, if you remove these four values from that statement of acceptance, there's something wrong with our psychology. I think one or two of your panelists have already mentioned that 4 years ago, we lost 8 lives. What worries me as an individual is that the state has not shown the need to investigate, for instance, and let us know the circumstances under which those lives were lost. So we can, at the end of the day, institute corrective measures so we don't repeat them. But the assumption being that all the 8 who died, including children or a child, were all criminals, as some MPs have said, and that anybody who misbehaves whatever during elections is a criminal, must be shot. This is not a democracy. In which of major democracies do we find their leaders sitting around the table to sign a peace pact when on the ground, materially, violations are taking place? If 4 years ago was long ago, what about this gentleman who was sitting on a TV station spreading misinformation that the elections will be conducted in 2 stages or 2 phases? Phase 1, numbers 1 to 7, and phase 2, numbers 8 to 13, or whatever it is.
You're talking about the journalist.
Yes, I share that footage with the executive secretary for the National Peace Council.
Yeah.
He responded the following day to say the gentleman has been arrested. But I'm well informed that he was taken to the police station, granted bail, and sent home. We are not aware that the man is being prosecuted, and prosecution is not going to take place before the 7th. So what are we talking about when we say that the leaders must go and commit themselves to peace? Now, I'm reliably informed once again that not all of the security personnel who are going to be deployed before the 7th for whatever security related election security related matters, not all of them are on the special voters list.
I don't understand.
If this is true, excuse me.
You said you are reliably informed that the security personnel to be deployed on election day are all not going to be voting on the 2nd of December?
Not all of them who are going to be deployed on the 7th, not deployed on the 7th. Their deployment probably might take place on the 5th, on the 6th, or the 7th. But whatever it is on the 7th, they will be at ballot stations, or they will be patrolling, they will be in certain communities, which will not be their voting stations, and therefore they will not be able to cast their votes. Now, why should the state authority deliberately disenfranchise Ghanaians? Fine, they are going to secure the elections, but that does mean that they must not cast their votes. So these are some of the glaring examples that machinations are taking place behind the scenes. For instance, and you are telling others that accept. For instance, when the president spoke yesterday, if I'm right, he only called on the NDC to accept the results. Now, the interpretation of that statement is that only the NDC can lose, and the NPP cannot lose, and therefore the NDC must accept the results. The president, as a statesman or statesperson, should have said that I call on all political parties, because there are more than 2 political parties in this country. At least we have the Afafanto brother, gentleman there, who speaks very eloquently. He's there. Why do you call on one political party in opposition to accept the results when it is possible that the NPP can lose? And indeed, the NDC can lose, but the Afafanto group or any other group or an independent candidate could win. So the playing field is not level. We need to accept that.
Now,
if I'm not taking too much of your time, for instance, some of the monetization issues that we've been talking about. Not long ago, we saw the distribution to the districts, whatever, of what we call grade. These excavators and so on, or graders. Now, I have a question. Is the procurement of this equipment in the budget that was read, the last one, did the government go to Parliament to say that I want to spend so much to bring in X number of equipment to improve our roads? If the answer is no, where did the state or where did the government get the money from? The 100 electric buses that are being launched yesterday, their procurement, was it in the budget that was read the other time, the last time? If not, where did the state, the government, get the money from? So, If you're going to launch grid or you're going to launch electric buses, don't let it appear as if it's a state that is doing that. But even if it is a party that is doing that, where is the money coming from? Because political parties are not going to have that money, are not expected to have that much money to spend on such equipment. You see, so my policy brief that I issued a couple of days ago, and indeed I have written specifically on this peace pact, is that we must stop with this symbolism. Currently, the symbolism shows that our democracy is not stable. We are uncertain of the stability of our democracy, and therefore every year we must get our leaders to sign. The best thing to do is what the Afafanto gentleman has already elaborated, to address the fundamental issues of instability. And that includes addressing human rights violations, especially the 8 who died 4 years ago, which we have ignored, to address. Therefore, if something happens on the 7th, I will not be surprised, because we have not laid in place all the mechanisms that will ensure that the elections are free, fair, transparent, and credible.
Right. Well, well put. Colonel Festus Abuaji, thank you for your time. And I know that you're rushing for a meeting. Would have had a more expansive conversation on the subject. And it looks like he seems to also be pinpointing and making references to some of the key fundamental issues of actions that need to be taken that also injures the trust that is needed to be engendered.
Exactly. You see, I think one critical issue, and I think we haven't spoken about it enough, is the irresponsible acts of the president.
The irresponsible acts of the president?
The irresponsible, crass, irresponsible.
Herein is what?
Of the president. In appointing people who were perceived, and I'm not saying they are, but people who are perceived to be MPP members onto the EC. Because you see, like I'm saying, there's doing something to represent something won't sustain our democracy.
Doing something to represent something. Yeah, you think that's what we did with
but that's all we've been doing. The Galamsey issue, doing something to everything, we do something to represent something. There's absolutely no commitment. You understand? But I think when the president appointed people who were perceived to have political coloring onto the EC, he undermined the ability of the EC to deliver on their mandate, which is to deliver an election which is not only free and fair, but which is perceived to be free and fair. So for me, you see, our focus as a people is to create that robust democratic institution, system. And we can only build and sustain this democracy if we deliberately build the right political culture, if we deliberately build the right institutions, if we commit ourselves to our constitution, to the enforcement of our constitution, if people we place in political authority, if the political parties and all of us as Ghanaians come together to build that right political culture that is participatory in nature, that will tolerate diverse views and demand accountability from political leadership. When we've done that, then come 2028, we do not need to sit together on a round table and sign some pacts which will not or has proven or failed to protect the lives of 8 of our compatriots whose lives were lost in spite of the fact that we signed the peace pact. It will not prevent the slaps.
That's Sam George.
Sam George received. You understand? It will not prevent, what was his name? He mentions the double. You understand? Double. We need to enforce the law and we need to create the right political culture. Otherwise, we will continue to waste our time in signing these pacts. Whereas democracy, the building blocks of democracy are whittled down.
Oh, okay. So to premise my question to you, Kwame Jantua, Chairman Prosper says, just take, for example, where we have election materials for Keta, Ketu North, and he sends me the Electoral Commission statement as well, all being redrawn and reprinted just to get the right numbers being announced. And how will that engender peace? Also, refer to the SAL issue. On the eve of the election, the people of SAL, over 20,000 in number on the roll, were made not to vote that meant that all those people didn't have trust for the Electoral Commission. How would these engender peace just by signing a peace pact? He continues to then say, just go also to the various parts of the country where you have perceived discrimination of people who are said to be in the opposition. They are called names, tribal inferences, and nobody talks about it. He also makes reference to a number of actions, and this one also, I'll add the concern also that has been raised by Nana Yao Sapong, and he's with the Movement for Change and the Alliance. He says, just take, for example, Salam Mustafa, the national youth organizer for the ruling party, saying that they will not sacrifice power on the altar of peace. Refer also to the statement by Brian Echampong. Why would you think even the opposition parties will not react? How does this engender people? On this premise, have we laid the right foundation for actualizing what has been signed yesterday?
Good morning. Good morning to our viewers. Roland, let me start from where Colonel versus Abuaji left off. And the bit where he talked about the security services being disenfranchised for not voting. Yesterday, some of us had the opportunity to meet with the IGP, private sector, and some of these questions were put to him. And he assured us 100% that they are ready for this election. I can't give the details that he gave to us there, but he was convincing enough to let us know that the country is covered. Even on the 8th, the question of the 8 who had died in the last election, he went as far as telling us where they've gotten to with the investigation.
After how many years?
Well, the investigation is still going on. And he makes one point.
4 years.
He makes one point that the people who were killed, the people in the vicinity know who those people were, but don't want to say anything. So sometimes it becomes difficult getting the kind of information that they are looking for. But he assures us that very soon, these people who died, the 8, would go to court. That is what he tells us. Now, we cannot say...
The election is 8 days away.
Well, he says it will go to court. We can only take his word for it. And let's see whether it would go to court, whether before or after the election. But he assures us that definitely they are on the cups of this case. Now, let me go to this peace thing. You know, Roland, the discussion and conversation of electoral peace should have started 6 months ago.
Why?
Why not why? Why not why? And it should have started with the NCCE and political parties 6 months ago, educating the supporters what it means to have peace and an election. How many days to election? They are come to sign a piece of paper. If that education had gone on, the culmination of that education would be the signing of this. Because, look, piece of paper don't stop fomenting of trouble. It doesn't. Without the supporters of the political parties, it doesn't stop. Because it starts there. It starts with supporters. The fact that John Mahama, Baumia have signed paper, they don't even remember. They don't remember that.
I don't understand. Are you saying that the shootings, for example, as we witnessed in Ayawaso West Wogon, perpetrated by those who have been deployed from national security, and then also from Techiman South, there was Ablekuma as well, were started by supporters of the political parties, i.e. the opposition parties? I'm
talking about the fact that when trouble is fomented, it's fomented by...
So what's the point with educating the supporters?
It's fomented by an action that is taken that supporters don't agree to. That is how it's fomented. So you come and you sign a peace pact, and that peace pact does not have any leaning on the supporters. How does that peace pact work? Did we not sign last election? Didn't people die? So what are we talking about? Look, Ayawaso West Wogon, the recommendations, when we went to the president, what happened? Ayawaso West Wogon, the investigation was headed by who? Emil Short. Who is Emil Short? Is he anybody? Is he not a respected individual in this country? Is he not? And he goes to the president and tells the president, this is our recommendations. The president act on it. Did President Akufo-Addo act on it? Roland, I'm asking you, did he act on it? What did he say? Wasn't there a white paper? Was it a white paper they wrote? Yeah, it was a white paper.
After the recommendation, there's a white paper.
Did he accept it? And has the recommendations, have they been enforced? No. We're still in that way. So what is this signing for? Look, the Electoral Commission is where the
challenge is. You mean that's where the problem is?
Yes. Yes. When the Electoral Commission starts by saying, we are going to limit the press from going to regional collation centers
and constituencies.
One, you just mentioned the delay of ballot papers.
No. Apart from delay, there were problems in the printing.
In certain constituencies, and especially if those constituencies are seen to be areas of flashpoints, definitely the two major ones will clash, irrespective of whether you signed or you haven't signed. That is why the training should start. In fact, the Peace Council should be training people all year round.
The National Peace Council?
Yeah.
You think they've been dormant?
What is their responsibility? Their responsibility only to come during election time. They should have a program where they consistently train political parties and their supporters. But then you ask the question, are they financed properly? Do they have the money? NCCE, are they giving the money?
You think it's deliberate?
I don't know whether it's deliberate or it's not deliberate. I don't know whether it's deliberate or not deliberate. Maybe we don't take it serious. After elections, that is it. In other countries, it will be a continuous effort to get to where my brother is saying. That continuous effort would continue so that going forward, you don't even need to sign a peace pact. In Britain, do they sign peace pact? In Britain, do they sign peace pact? In America, do they sign peace pact? In America, do they sign peace pact? Even Nigeria, do they sign peace pact? Cote d'Ivoire, they sign peace pact. So what is the scare? What is the scare? Look, for me, the major challenge has got to do with the Electoral Commission. And I ask the question, do the people trust the Electoral Commission? The voting in the morning, that normally goes peaceful. It is when the figures are collated and they find discrepancies. And remember, the media too plays a huge role where elections are concerned. Because as the Electoral Commission are collating, the media too is collating, political parties are collating. The moment there's a discrepancy, it can spark, especially in areas of challenge. And in this year, the area of challenge is Ashanti. This year, the area of challenge is Ashanti. And so if the Electoral Commission comes and does what they did in 2020 by announcing what? The multiple what do you
presidential
call it?
results.
They've announced more than 3-4 times. Do you think people just sit back? They won't, because this election is on a knife's edge.
The election is on a knife's edge.
It's a knife's edge. Alfred feels we are winning. He feels we are winning. He feels we are winning. I feel we are winning. Well, you can never tell. You can never tell. Listen. Winning hasn't only got to do with winning one time. If this election and the way this election is going, it goes into second round, all political parties have a stake. Yes, we might not win, but if it goes second round, we have a stake. And for me, from what I'm seeing, it can go second round. And it can. And it going second round, that is where, if you are not careful, that fomenting of trouble will start. Has anybody talked about that? Has anybody told supporters that, look, this thing, if you go second round, we should be very mindful because the trouble can start there. Has anybody said it? No. But the key issue, do we trust the Electoral Commission? That is where the question is. Has the Electoral Commission been able to climb from where it came from in 2020 and gain the confidence of the people? Have they been able to do it? throughout these 4 years? Would you say yes? I would not say yes if you're telling me that ballot papers in a certain constituency are not enough, so we are not going to print. It starts putting things in people's mind, especially in a stronghold of the Volta, which is a political party stronghold. You start saying that. If it happens in Ashanti, in another stronghold, there would be problems. So for me, it is the Electoral Commission. You come and tell us we are ready for the elections. Everything is set. We are ready to go. Then you later come and tell us something else. It becomes very, very difficult. I believe and I hope that the kind of political culture that we have in this country that promotes procurement. And our politics promotes procurement.
And winner takes
period. Well, if stop even winner takes all. Procurement. People go into government because of procurement. Look at it.
What are they procuring?
Oh, what government procures? They have to add their, what do you call it on it? Look, listen. And let me conclude.
Please,
let me conclude.
Let him talk in peace.
Procurement has been a bane in this government.
Procurement
has been a bane in this government. Procurement has promoted corruption in this government. You can say the nice things. Oh, we have done this project. The president has cut short here. We've done 800 hospitals. We've done X. If people feel that the country has not taken care of them and they feel you're trying to manipulate, it will foment trouble.
Chief Justice has spoken. But the actions that need to be taken by the heads of the various organs, whether it's the president, Commander-in-Chief of Ghana Armed Forces, and then the vice president, who is chair of the police council, even the president responsible for appointing people onto the electoral commission, and then actions that are even taken by those institutions, whether it's on demonstrators, protesters, etc., nothing is done. I also West Wogo and some of those things. It then breeds the perception, and incrementally, despite whatever the president may say or the vice president and all that assurances, you have to then lay the blame squarely on their doorstep. Is that not the case?
Okay. Roland, I'd like to ask you one simple question. In the Ayawaso West Wagon, did anyone die?
I don't understand. Are you saying because people didn't die?
I'm asking you one simple question.
Was there violence?
Did anyone die?
Were there maiming of people?
Did anyone die?
Were there violence?
You see, you can't answer the question. You see, you can't answer the question. You know why you can't answer it. Please, I have my time.
Didn't die.
I have my time.
No, people didn't
now, we had a sitting MP standing there and saying that you killed a man in his own room. Where is the man that has been killed? To date, where is the man that has been killed?
I don't
and
understand.
then you get people, when they are stopping him from saying it, you said the person should be punished. Do you know what that could have cost? Do you know what that could have cost? And then you get people, then they'll come and tell you that, oh, because the vice president is the chairman of the police council, so the vice president should go and do what? Should go and lock some judge for saying such things? Let's stop this politicking.
Are you saying that the deployment of the people...
Let's stop this politicking of bringing the vice president's name in every time it's convenient.
Mr. Alfred Thompson,
will not help us.
Mr. Alfred Thompson, we cannot have officials of government who put themselves up for election and then appointed into public office, supposed to be responsible for institutions of state, that, if you look at the Constitution, are enshrined and enjoined and empowered to take key actions, and they don't take. Ayawaso West Wogo, me, Roland Walker, I was in the... I took that shot where the gentleman was slapped, Sam George.
Yes.
I was supposed to...
Who slapped him?
Listen.
Who slapped
yes,
him?
he did say, because
you
at the time... Please listen.
That's what he
please
said.
Listen.
Don't
at the time, somebody collapsed. It was perceived by the reporters on ground that the person that it was reported widely by the media. Are you saying the deployment that even took place, the maiming that was being undertaken before he said the things that he did, were occasioned because of what he said?
As a responsible citizen and as a member of parliament who is supposed to be an honorable member, you don't just get up and open your mouth.
Are you saying what he said, even though the violence started before he said what he said? Are you saying what he said, even after the violence or amid the violence, is what created the maiming of the individuals?
What would have happened?
What would have happened? You are the security expert. Are you? What would have happened?
You call me a security expert for bringing my mind out. You see the mischievous things you do.
I'm not doing any mischief. Please answer my question.
We are discussing things, and now because I'm bringing things out, that is telling you that you can't tell me that because Vice President is chairman of Police Council, so he should go and do the Ayawaso West Wagon thing. When I'm giving you a clear example,
who takes collective responsibility, Mr. Alfred Thompson?
So as chairman of Police Council,
did you listen to the proceedings of the Ayawaso West Wagon Commission?
As chairman of Police Council, he should go and lock Sam George. When we have, listen, NDC, Swami, regional Swami youth organizer Razak says NDC will use deadly violence to win 2024 elections. Deadly violence. Then you have another person saying that be ready to kill NDC. Be ready to kill if it will win us power.
Who said that?
Come 2024. An executive of NDC.
What's his name?
It's go and check Ghana Web. Go and check Ghana Web on the 7th of February 2023. You see it there. All these things are not being said.
What's his name?
I don't know his name. I said, go and check Ghana Web. I didn't read the full story, but I'm giving you the headlines that have been given there. You get all these things being said by them. Then we sit down and want to blame Electoral Commission. Or we want to blame Dan Parry. Or we want to blame the Vice President because he's chairman of Police Council. When we have irresponsible statements coming from our own organizers and youth organizers, and we can't stop them. Please, I stated it, that peace will come when you start putting certain things in place. We were sitting in this country in 2020 when people lost elections and told their people to go to Electoral Commission and do whatever they want to do. And they were being served by former ministers of state, food and water, that they should go ahead and stay there 24 hours. We were in this country. We were in this country. And you think it's funny because, oh yes, you are not in power. Listen, the police will do everything that they have to do to stop anybody from causing violence. We sat here and we were saying that, what do you call it? Someone, a journalist was saying that first 7 will vote on this date and the other 7 or how many will vote on the next day. But you sat here and a retired, what do you call it? Military person was saying that, he's a
security expert. Forget about him being a retired.
His head. You see, that is where I have a problem.
Intelligence or information.
No, he said he has been given reliable information that the police or the security personnel.
He's in a position to be given reliable information, sir.
Can I finish my statement, please? He has been given reliable information that some police, military personnel or security personnel. Please, you know what? When you work with security, they'll tell you that, and I'm glad that he said that when he went to meet the IGP, there are certain things he said that you come and say out. Do you know what he's saying, what it can cause?
What can it cause?
When you tell me that,
are being marginalized,
when you are telling me that, so what is someone of his standing? What has he got to do?
Who works with regional groupings?
He has to go, someone of his standing.
Why are you picking on him?
Roland, you know, when you bring people in and they come and say wrong things, we have to correct them. In the same way that you want to correct the government, let us correct the citizens when they say things that are not right. Let us do the right thing. In everybody's perspective, not in my perspective alone. Let us say things that are not right.
So
it's everybody. I'm speaking about people who are not on this station and are also complaining about some of the things that are going on.
Mr. Alfred Thompson, let me be categorical. You don't character assassinate. You don't also malign people,
please. Character assassinate. You were sitting down when he called the president irresponsible. What did you tell him?
That is his opinion.
And you think it's right?
Using the word irresponsible,
right? That's how we were brought up. That is how we were brought up, that we should call our leaders irresponsible or on television sets, and we're okay with it.
Mr. Alfred Thompson,
please, let us stop this.
Let us stop this. You can expatiate on your opinion.
Let us stop this. Granted. It's not right.
We call an expert in. An expert who we assume and also think has gained their credibility, works with key international, regional, and global bodies in his own right, and says he has credible information from his sources.
From where?
You don't determine where from his sources.
But when I am saying something, you can see, where's my source?
You can see.
No, because when I am talking, you ask me that where's my source.
Speak your opinion, Mr. Alfred Thompson. What I'm saying is very categorical. Don't malign. And
I'm not maligning anyone, but
that is what you are doing. Somebody recalled it. You are character assassinating the person.
That are not right.
You have a minute to wrap up, please.
I'm talking about statements he's made. When you're interjecting me, how do I wrap up?
Please wrap up. A minute.
Thank you very much. We are talking about statements that is made that are not right. When people come out and they say they are experts, that doesn't mean that everything you can say on air. It's not everything. As security experts, they will tell you that it's not everything that they tell you that you go out and just go and announce. And some of the things when you are saying it, you have to be careful. Because some of these things can let some security experts rise up and say that maybe I could be in that, or maybe that's why I was not allowed to go on the special voting. All these things could cause problems and cause mayhem. And that is why when we are talking about peace, you don't come and say that, oh, because the president, but the president also talked, and now you are coming to say and say that the president is saying that this thing, what do you call it? If the opposition loses, they should accept the results. Hasn't the president got his opinion as well? You think the president is not right in saying that, but you think you can say certain things that are right. Let us stop doing this, and let us all work together towards the peace of this country. You go and tell people to go and do whatever they like in what do you call it, Sunyani East, and then when they do it and then there are problems, they come and blame the president. Did the president tell people that they should go, the soldiers that they should go and shoot, or whoever killed who? He's telling us now that they know the people, but the people do not want to name who went to do what. And that is where the problem starts. Let us all work together towards peace. We don't just go and sign an accord and tell our people that they should go on the streets and do what they like. Anybody who tries to cause any mayhem in this country will be stopped by the security forces. And that's where I end.
You have 3 minutes on this. We have people elected into public office. They are supposed to be responsible into key institutions of state with key functions. And they are supposed to ensure the safety of the people who go to vote. Where there's violence, they should be held responsible or not.
They should be held responsible. And that's why I side with my brother when he said the president was very irresponsible in his commentary. And you see, sometimes it looks like he likes to take people out of context. Even the Sam George issue, and I want to read for you on the media from City FM. And this is on the 26th of February 2019. This is what Sam George said. And the lies that you guys are always on and on and on. He asked the question, will you kill a man in his own house? This was what Sam George said. Sam George never said somebody was killed in his room or somebody died in his room. He said, will you kill a man in his own house? Oh, come on. You can even look for it and print it. But you have internet before you.
Please go ahead.
So please, this business about lying and trying to create stories and all that is neither here nor there. The MPP is not committed to the peace of this country. You want to win election at all costs. And we are telling you this time round that, look, peace pact or no peace pact, you will not be allowed to do what you did in Ayawaso. You will not be allowed to do what you did in Techiman. You will not be allowed to do it in any other place. So this business about getting ruffled by what you are saying, you will get more ruffled. Because this time round, it won't be. Number two, you have a president or a vice president who is now their running mate, who sits at council in the police service or as council chair of the police service, and you have all these infractions and you don't want us to blame him.
You mean he's their presidential candidate, not the running mate?
That's what he said. Sorry.
Okay.
Presidential candidate.
Who sits in council where?
Who sits in council as a police council head? And we see all these things, and then he turns around.
When you were talking,
no, I mean,
what you are doing,
he's used to that.
I only gave him 3 minutes. Please.
And you have a man of that caliber involved in these elections, in these same elections, and you see these things with the police, and you don't want us to comment. There is no commitment from the MPP to the peace and progress of this nation. They have shown it in all other aspects of their life, including even the Ayawaso West Ogun. One of the cardinal things that we would have seen, which would have given confidence to people, was the prosecution of people who were involved in Ayawaso West Ogun. Was the prosecution
of people?
You think that would have
given enough confidence?
Of course.
To your supporters as well.
Of course, to everybody, to all Ghanaians who have seen it. We saw it on video. We saw it on our phones. We saw it everywhere. We read it in the news. People have witnessed it. We have families who were injured in the process and all that. And what do we see? What has been the commitment of the president, including their candidates right now, in respect of this matter? Have you ever heard Baumia, the vice president, ever speak on these issues? Has he ever? What about the families that were maimed? What about people whose livelihoods were lost? What about people who have become, amputated and all that? And we sit on radio and TV and you tell me that you are committed and you beat people and all that. Listen, we tell you before God and man, you don't owe this country more than anybody does. We all as Ghanaians have equal rights in the adjudication of peace in this country. And that we will not compromise. And I let you know from
up.
today that the NDC is committed to the peace of this country, as we have done in the past. We have never run in any election in this country that lives were lost to this extent, and that won't happen this time around. And for us, if you want peace, better play by the rules. But if you try anything funny, you won't have it.
Lawyer Apia Dankwa, 3 minutes for you. Just gathering from around here our views, and then the questions we're asking, and then also what Ken Ofessor Sabwaji says. The actions of the key stakeholders out there, those elected into public office, etc., the president, vice president, and all those. Are you worried that we seem to be just talking and not walking the talk?
In fact, I'm surprised. You've asked an excellent question. I'm surprised that my brothers have really dallied with the question, and I also don't understand why my big brother will go after the Colonel. Because what the Colonel, when the Colonel spoke, he said something very profound. He said the president as a statesman. Because you shouldn't lose fact of the fact that you are a politician, you may be contesting, you may belong to a political party, but when you are president, when you are vice president, you are president and vice president over the entire country. We don't give you that position for position's sake. When we say the vice president is the head of the police council, we didn't give him that position for granting position's sake. You understand? When we give them those positions, we tax them with a duty to build the right institutions, the right culture that will enable us to fulfill the objectives of our constitution, as stated in chapter 6 of our constitution. So that's where the police is failing, or where one of the fundamental tasks of government, which is to protect our lives, they are failing there. And we are pointing fingers at the vice president. Don't take it personal. You understand? Because he is the head of the police council, and very critical in his duty is to strengthen the institution of the police and to put us in a situation where we can fulfill the objective of all of us. Also, we need to hold political leaders accountable. And also your question is excellent, because you are president of Ghana, but you're also the member of the MPP. When we are conducting an election and we need peace and we need security, it's the duty of the president. You understand? And that duty begins in even how he makes his appointments. And I'll say again, I'll reiterate this proposition again. The president acted irresponsibly, crassly irresponsibly, when he appointed people who were perceived to have political coloring onto the EC. Because my brother here said something, as it was right when he said the issue of the peace has to do with the EC, because with the EC. And then you undermine the ability of the EC to deliver on its mandate. That's undermining our ability to have a peaceful election if you identify people, if you appoint people onto the EC who are perceived to be biased, or who will not trust that they can conduct that election without being biased. And so I agree with you. It is time we hold people, we grant our powers to.
On Monday, I interviewed the deputy chairman in charge of corporate services, Dr. Bosman Asari, just here. And I asked him about the appointment. Is this the constitution?
Listen, Aristotle said that law is reason, free from passion. You understand? So that when you are, and also in Tofaya Attorney General, when they tell how you interpret the constitution, you interpret the constitution also having regard to the spirit, the purpose, our collective values and principles. Now, yes, we understand that you, the president, we've granted you the power to appoint the EC. Now, you must, in how you interpret that authority, have regard to our values, have regard to the purpose of the EC, have regard to our collective agenda of creating this democracy and sustaining same. You understand? So where immediately you say that, I have the power to appoint, so I can appoint anybody at all, without having regard to whether or not they can fulfill the mandate. And I'm saying the mandate of the EC is not just to deliver elections, which I even fair.
Do you think that is abuse?
Let me land on this point. The duty of the EC is to deliver elections which are perceived to be free and fair. So if you, the president, you have a regard to that, appoint people who are
Use the word perceive.
I said they
should be free and fair.
No, listen to what I'm saying critically. I said the burden of them is not just to deliver elections which are free and fair. That's an easy one. But I'm taking a step further. The duty should be to deliver elections which are also perceived to be free and fair. Because they could deliver elections which are free and fair. I mean, they lose the war of the perception. Then what have they done? Mainly in spite of the fact that they delivered free and fair elections, people perceive that the elections were not conducted free and fair. Then what have they done? And so the president, when he's making appointment, should have regard to that burden. Don't appoint people who are perceived to have political career. Don't appoint my brother Thompson. I'm not saying he's not competent. He's not competent or doesn't have integrity. Don't appoint myself.
Do you think that for such people as enshrined who have the powers in the Constitution, do you think that in making such a decision, perhaps the power of discretion is abused?
And that's why our Constitution, because you see, when you take the American Constitution, it's just about 2-3 pages. I think the framers of our Constitution know how difficult people we are. And so even on simple issues of discretion, 298, they went ahead to tell us how we should use those discretionary powers. But beyond that, you, the president, you must have regard to our purpose, to our values, to our principles. But he just, oh, I'm the president of Ghana, I can decide to appoint. Okay, let me appoint people who are perceived to be MPP people there. What have you done? You've undermined the ability of Ghanaians to have a peaceful election. And that's why I'm saying that it was a crass and irresponsible decision by the president. Even though my big brother here isn't happy, and I'm not assassinating the president's character. I'm saying the obvious. Oh, listen, he's
icing on the cake.
Half of words against politicians, both sides have used it. Both sides.
True.
They've called
each other names.
They've called each other names. So that is neither here nor there. But let me ask the question. When the president appoints and the appointees that he gives, he brings out to the people of Ghana, who are they responsible to?
The people.
Apart from the people.
The Constitution.
Are they not responsible to the person who appointed them?
Are they not? Their allegiance?
Yes. Not allegiance. They are responsible to the person who appointed them. So if they do something wrong, the person who appointed them has the right to question. Has the right to ask questions. The president of Ghana has the right to ask anybody he's appointed a question. And it isn't the fact that, oh, he's appointed XYZ, but it's not the president's duty. He has the right. So, Sal, did the president say anything about Sal?
No.
Did he say anything about Sal? No, he didn't. But it was responsibility. He put the Electoral Commission nominees in place. When soldiers brutalized civilians, did the president say anything? Is he not chairman of the, what do you call it?
No, he's commander-in-chief.
Commander-in-chief.
The Ghana Armed Forces.
He has no responsibility there. Likewise, Vice President Baumia is chairman of the Council of Police. Are you trying to tell me that the IGP will not take advice?
The president appoints the IGP.
I said, are you trying to tell me that the IGP will not take advice from Vice President Baumia as chairman of the Police Council?
He does.
So doesn't it mean that Vice President Baumia has responsibility? Anyway, the Vice President says, idiot, he's not Vice President too. He's mate. He's mate. So he does not have what? He does not have the power to do certain things. But it's a team, isn't it? It's a team. It's a team. As Vice President, you are part of the team. You cannot extricate yourself from the team. And I keep saying, the Vice President is the only person who does not need an appointment to see the president in this country. He can walk into the president's office without knocking. He can. He can. He's his running mate. He came, he lifted his hands and told us that this is our economic guru. Where's the economy today? Where's the economy today? Look, all these things that the president...
You think the election in the run-up to the few days we have into the 7th should be about the economy, bread and butter?
It is going to be about the economy. It's not going to be about projects you are what do you call it, you are commissioning. So you've commissioned flower pot. Eh? Flower pot.
The electric buses.
Is it going to feed the people?
Yes, it will.
Is it going to feed the people? When the people don't have money in their pockets to be able to make ends meet, will it feed them?
Yes.
What? It will make distances short? Is that what you're telling me?
No, you're thinking about it.
Oh, please, I'm not thinking about it.
You mean the forex rate, CD dollar ratio 17, which should be an important measure?
I said this election is economy. Bottom net to abapa. Bottom net to abapa. Because look, Even free education they talk about, and parents contributing to free education.
I don't understand.
And parents contributing to free education. Are they not spending money for the awards? This free education, are they not saying, and are they not doing it? Are parents not doing more where free education is concerned?
All right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying free education is bad. But if you're doing free education, do it so that everybody benefits. A lot of the things that... it isn't a question for a selected few. It's a question, is it affordable? Do people have the wherewithal?
I don't understand. Are you saying that, are you asking the question, is the free affordable?
The free education that you say you've given, do parents not buy textbooks?
Yes. There are no textbooks.
Do parents...
No, they are giving them laptops.
Oh, please, please.
Laptops.
Please.
You don't know. I'm telling you.
Please. So it is laptops that would help.
Tablet. They're giving them tablet.
It is laptops that will help the children be able to pass. What do you mean they don't need textbooks?
Where is it? In all the syllabus, everything is in the laptop.
Wait.
Let me educate
No, Mr. Alfred Thompson. You see...
You see, I become jittery when people don't read the...
Please.
No, Mr. Alfred Thompson, please allow your co-panelists to make their point. This strategy of interjecting when they are making salient points, in their opinion, it's not fair. It's not fair to all of us here and then the audience. Please go ahead. You have 2 minutes to wrap up.
I hope parents will send you messages.
Yesterday, Johnny Hughes had a parent sending something from the platform of Ibrig Hills, where they were made to pay fees, which were supposed to be contributions from PA, that's the Parents Association. And these have been approved by the association.
So let's go on. You see, one of the major challenges of the MPP is that they have been able to get so much money, but haven't been able to utilize that money to the benefit of Ghanaians. Okay. I believe the MPP could have done more with the amount of money that have come into their reign. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to do that because the card of personal interest has taken over a lot of the things they've done.
You're saying that the 122 billion movement of the debt from 2017 to now reaching 800 billion should reflect?
Why shouldn't it reflect? Didn't they take people's savings? DDEP.
Haircuts.
Yes, haircuts.
Even though the president the finance minister said no haircuts.
Did the people not suffer? They said, we are not going to IMF. Never, ever. What happened? Did they not go back on their word? Look, Ghanaians, this particular election is on the economy. Nothing else but the economy. Judge Vice President Baumia, judge the MPP on the economy as to where we are today.
Okay. My producer says I can give you 2 minutes to wrap up on Apenyo Makin responding to the Speaker's position. You know, the Speaker also responded to his memo, and then he said that the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagbin, is controlling Parliament as if it's his own.
Where can we go with a few days to elections? What can we do?
Please explain.
How many bills are there that are so urgent? Didn't the Speaker give Afenyo Makin the chance when he called Parliament? Didn't he? I don't know. Didn't he call for emergency sitting? Didn't he? When the Speaker came, was there business to transact? Did the MPP who called for that emergency, were they in Parliament? So what is Afenyo Makin talking about? He should stop this infantile thing that he does. It's not helping anybody. We are how many days to election? It won't happen. The Speaker has said, and listen, the Speaker is in his own domain as Parliament. He has control. Look, this situation that happened in Parliament, I believe the leader of the majority leader and the minority leader could have sorted it out. It shouldn't have gone as far as it went. Has it not happened before? Didn't Esla Usu go and sit on somebody's lap because the person had sat in her seat? Did we see what we saw? And this was triggered by Afenyo Makin by going to the Supreme Court before even the Speaker had even said about it. It's not everything you take to the Supreme Court when you can sort things out in Parliament. Parliament is a house of consensus. Parliament is a house where you collaborate. Parliament is a house of peace. all this nyama going on in Parliament is not helping anybody, and it has to stop. The Speaker has said, we will come back after 7th December. We'll come back after that, and we will move. Okay. For me, the most important bill is the temporary budget. For me, that's the most important bill. That, because people have
apart
to be
from that, Yamutu. Is that what you're saying?
Apart from that, we don't have the time. Okay. If this election goes second round, do you have the time? If it goes second round, and it's likely to go second round, mark it. It is likely to go second round.
It will be first round.
Let's see. Let's see.
All right. Thank you all for coming. Wanda Madilo, and then also lawyer Apia Dankwa, and my Chief Justice on the panel right here, lawyer Kwame Jantwa, the son of F.A. Jantwa. Please go Google F.A. Jantwa, and you get to learn a lot of history. And then also Alfred Kojo Thompson, thank you for passing through the studios as well. We have cash out. We have the mega jackpot today. Choose option 8 as always. Please make sure that when it comes to the mega jackpot, you choose option 8. We increase the number of tickets as well. You become one of the lucky winners. It is the birthday, one of the distinguished public servants we have in Ghana. Justice Yoni Kolende, Supreme Court Judge, happy birthday to you. Patience Bafuboni, Director of Prisons, the Republic of Ghana. Patience Bafuboni, Director of Prisons, the Republic of Ghana, happy birthday to you. Tomorrow is the birthday of my good friend, Executive Director, Child Rights International. I've known him over 20-something years. So, Bright Apia, happy birthday to you. I wish you all the best. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
I completed JSS in 1997. I got admission to Insaban Secondary School in 1998. When I was about to complete my first year, my dad lost his job, so I was kicked out of school because of school fees. My mom was a people teacher whose salary couldn't even buy food in the house, let alone paying my school fees. I stayed in the house for 3 good years, and I sold farm milk at Agunaswedo before I was able to gather something to go back to school. That time, I couldn't go back to Insaban Secondary School because it was among the middle class schools, which I couldn't afford, so I went to a different school. The saddest story to happen to me in my life was a day I was selling yogurt around the Greenland Hotel area when 3207 Mercedes-Benz bus stopped and they called me to buy some of the yogurt. I was the only person hawking there, so I knew business was going to be good. When I got to the bus, it was my mates at Insaban